So, welcome. Hello! Should I say it or should
No, you should say who you are first.
Today, welcome to the big picture. Big picture or the bigger picture?
The bigger picture, babe.
The biggest picture! I am the American.
I'm the Slav.
And today we're going to be talking about what is a Slav. What is a Slav?
Let's see what she thinks, or what she used to think a Slav was. So what did you think a Slav was?
I didn't really know that a Slav was a person. I thought of them as these creatures. No. I knew that there were Slavic countries, but I didn't know that you could refer to the people there as Slavs, or that it was an ethnic identity. Slavs are people too.
People too. They're like squatting, but they're still people. Slav squat?
And that sort of tied in with my lack of knowledge about the Balkans, about Eastern Europe. Every movie I saw where there were Slavic people, I just assumed that it was Russians.
Because that's the biggest Slavic country. She's right. Slavs are people. Yes, they exist. They originally come from the same place. That's why we share the name.
Was there ever a time when all of the different Slavic countries came together?
Well, they come from the same country, which was not a country, it was just a place where all these tribes were. There's a lot of discussion about where they originate from, these Slavic people, because out of nowhere they have been able to assimilate so many peoples in so many countries so quickly.
Aliens.
Aliens, they come from space.
Space Slavs.
That language, when the people were together, is called Proto-Slavic. You can see remnants of this language in all of the Slavic nations. Most Slavic languages use the same pronouns, so they sound the same. The vocabulary is very similar for simple things, like mother, father, go, drink. Some types of foods are the same in all the languages. Most of the grammar will be difficult to understand if you go to a completely different Slavic country. For example, if a Ukrainian goes to Bosnia and Herzegovina, I think they will not understand most of the language spoken there.
So it's like if someone whose native language is English were to go to Germany.
Yes.
They'd understand the same amount.
But it's not that far apart. First it came from a Germanic language, and then it was influenced by French. Slavic language wasn't really influenced by anything else, it's still the same root. Slavic people, most of them write in the Cyrillic alphabet, some letters over there. Not all of the letters in all Slavic languages are the same, but they use a similar alphabet. Some of them still write in Latin script, and some of them write in both, actually, like Serbia. Slav. Slav written in Slavic.
Are people trained in both?
Yes. Everyone studies a second language, everyone can read Latin. We started studying English when we were like, what? 2. By the way, this flag, there was a movement started from around the 15th century about pan-Slavism. It's a movement that makes efforts to unite all Slavic nations into one union. It culminated in a congress in the late 19th century. They came up with a nice flag symbolizing all Slavic nations. This is the flag they came up with. I think the blue is supposed to be Western Slavs. Western Slavic people live in Poland, Slovakia and the Czech Republic. The white symbolizes the Eastern Slavs. Eastern Slavic people live in Ukraine, Belarus and Russia. And the red symbolizes Southern Slavs. And Southern Slavs live in Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Slovenia, Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia and Bulgaria.
Oh.
All in all, I think it is estimated that there are around 360 million Slavic people in the world now. They're very similar in culture.
What would you say is common between the different Slavic countries?
Well, Slavic people tend to have the same temperament. They're very, how do you say that?
Hot-headed.
Hot-headed. But that's usually momentary, you know. But when they get angry, and then 5 minutes later, everything's okay. They're more like the Mediterranean people, you know. They like getting it out. They don't keep anything in. They don't bake. You should also remember that a lot of these Slavic countries are multicultural. So when you say Russia, there are a lot of Russians, ethnic Russians living there, but there is a lot of minorities. Russia is still a federation. It's a Russian federation. Other than that, the language is very similar. They cannot understand each other perfectly, but the languages are very, very similar. And that's about it.
No, it's not. How would you identify a Slavic person in public?
There's a big misconception that all Slavic people are blonde and tall and
wear Adidas.
And the girls are very pretty, the guys are ugly and wanna break and kill people. And this is 100% true. No.
Wait, no, stand up.
No.
Adidas.
This is a Slavic thing. Adidas. The tracksuit thing. Adidas. And about the tracksuit, a lot of Slavic people apparently, by chance or otherwise, have Adidas tracksuits. During the summer when we went to Macedonia, I asked everyone around, do you own a tracksuit? And almost everyone said yes. When you ask them what kind of tracksuit is, they say an Adidas.
They had many though. Everyone had like 2 or 3.
I guess Slavic people like their physical activity. They like to be prepared for battle.
And comfort.
And comfort. They're very comfortable. There's a stereotype among our countries that the pretty girls come from Ukraine, Belarus, those countries over there.
Russian women are very pretty as well. And Czech women, Serbian women.
I mean, all women, all people are pretty.
But I think all Slavic people are especially pretty.
Maybe.
They're very beautiful faces.
How to identify a Slav in public. Not all Slavs are blonde. Most of the blonde Slavs, I think, come from the more northern places like Russia, Ukraine. The more south you go, the more dark-haired Slavs you will see. They're not very tall as they're portrayed everywhere. They tend to be a bit bigger because Slavic people like to eat their meat.
What food and drinks would you consider to be Slavic?
Let's start with drinks because they're more stereotypical.
Vodka?
Vodka is mostly Northern Slavs. I mean, when I say Northern, it's from my perspective, you know, because I'm a Southern Slav. Poland, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, these countries drink more vodka. Then if you go to the Czech Republic, Slovakia too, they drink more wine and they drink a lot of beer there. They make very, very good beer in the Czech Republic. Southern Slavs drink something called rakia and a lot of wine. Rakia or raki is a distilled white spirit. Very similar to vodka, but it's made from plums and grapes. As we said, Slavic people like eating meat. I can only speak for Southern Slavs. Southern Slavs like eating meat a lot. Most of the dishes are meat-based. Barbecue is literally 60% of the food that is eaten in Southern Slavic restaurants.
It is so good.
Really delicious. It's really nice because most Slavic countries are organic. They don't have the huge corporations that have enormous farms, so most of it comes from organic sources. Really tasty.
When I went to Serbia and Macedonia, I tried the shashka. I tried like a hamburger patty, and I never, in the United States, I'll order a hamburger and then I have maybe 3 bites of it and regret it. But I would order these huge patties in Macedonia, and I would eat the whole thing really fast, and then I would eat another one because it was so good.
In the north, the Eastern Slavs, I think they have a more variety because Russia covers so many minorities. They have borscht, which is very famous, a famous dish that comes from Russia. We like drinking kompot.
What is kompot?
Kompot is like juice.
I thought it was like jam.
No, boiled vegetables with sugar, and it's like juice, but it has chunks of it inside.
Oh, okay.
You drink the juice and then you eat the vegetable.
Oh,
it's really cool.
Sounds nice. Kompot.
And we like our potatoes. Kartoshka. Don't take potatoes away.
One thing that you had mentioned before is that another commonality between all the different Slavic cultures and countries is the mythology.
Oh yes, Svarog. It's a Slavic mythological symbol. Slavic mythology is very similar to Greek mythology and Roman mythology. They have their own polytheistic pantheon. The god of gods, the equivalent of Zeus, is called Perun. But the problem with Slavic mythology is that it's not well documented. Unlike the Greeks at the time where they could write their stories, Slavic people were illiterate. Nowadays we only have some totems, some obelisks, maybe some short inscriptions here and there, but not a very detailed mythology. So we know who the gods were and what they were gods of, but we don't really have detailed stories like in Greek mythology, myths and stuff like that.
Are there any Slavic mythological creatures or figures that appear in more of the globalized world culture now?
Yes, Slavs also share these folklore stories, usually used to scare kids, into doing the right thing, which is kind of cool.
When I was visiting Serbia, a friend of mine told me one of the stories, and as an adult, hearing the stories, the door was open to the room that we were sharing, and it was all dark outside and the wind was coming in, and I was in my bed just like, can you please go and close the door? I don't want that open, even though we were on the second story.
I don't know, they tend to focus a lot on scaring people. Vampires come from Slavic mythology. There's a lot more, but they're to a lesser degree known in the Western world. But you could play The Witcher 3, a really cool game.
Really fun.
It's based on Slavic folklore, and although it borrows a lot from Western perspectives, but it's still based on Slavic folklore, and there are a ton of creatures there that are awesome. Yeah, we'll cover them in another video.
Do you have anything else you want to add about Slavs?
No, that's about it.
That is a Slav.
More or less. There is a lot more to say about Slavic cultures, of course. They're very old people. Each country is very specific and separate. Nowadays, Slavic countries are very modernized. There's a lot of Slavic people that don't like meat. There's a lot of Slavic people that don't drink alcohol. And some Slavic people don't even live in a Slavic country, so yeah.
People are like people everywhere else. And that's the bigger picture.
We stopped the video, but I just remembered this. Slave, the English word slave, comes from Slav. I don't know if it was the Romans or the Germanic tribes, they thought of the Slavs as slaves because most of the slaves taken were from Slavic countries at that particular time. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below. Tell us what we missed about Slavs. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.